Rick Kramer, 605 Chaser. Welcome to the show. We've got a few things that we need to get out of the way here first. What I want to do is thank everybody for tuning in to the 605 Chaser live stream last night. I did have to shut it off after a little while. It got a little crazy in the house. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our live radar, show you what's going on right now. Areas of Aberdeen, just to the south, you still got some little tiny pop-up cells here that are trying to get going, but not really expecting them to ramp up a whole lot. You saw that early this morning. If you take a look at this a little bit better, you'll be able to see the radar loop of what happened up in Webster, Sisseton, some big time wind that came through, some storm cells that were producing some hail there. But that has moved out of the area and it's slowly moving over to areas of the Twin Cities, but packing quite the punch. 50-mile-an-hour winds expected out of these. If we take a look at the radar loop here, or a satellite loop here, you can certainly see there's not a whole lot going on. Be a better view by the geo here. You can see some of these storms right here are trying to tower up, but it's having a little bit of a struggle. We're going through the last 50 frames. There's that puppy moving on out. Clearing is happening in Aberdeen and out west. So that's going to end up setting up things possibly for this tornado outlook here. 2% tornado outlook, I can't talk, for today in this zone here. Aberdeen, Clear Lake, much of those areas, but this is going to be super late. Let me kind of show you what's expected, and I'm honing in on the tornado risk, and the reason why I'm honing in on that is that's the biggest risk that we have for today. Um, this is a look at 1 p.m. Some of the significant tornado parameter numbers really don't look that impressive based on HRRR. Once we go a little bit further into the day, we start getting into 3 p.m. This is where we could start seeing things spark off. Now, I want to warn you, the thing that is going to hinder this is going to be the cap in the atmosphere. You heard me talk about that a number of times, and it's no less of an issue today. Some of that storm development that we had happen early this morning, and depending on the timing of when the front comes through from areas of Montana, and Wyoming, it could hinder this development. But nonetheless, there is that risk. So if I was going to hone in on an area, it'd be somewhere over by Highway 212, Falkton area. That would be kind of set up area somewhere around 3 p.m. if that would hold true. But here's the kicker. I don't know if that's going to show up. So let's take a look at the max updraft helicity at that same time. Doesn't show it, doesn't support it. So that's why I would say, nope, we're going to have to hold off. So let's go back over to the evening hours. Look at that. We don't see anything really show up until we get into the late night time frame. Unfortunately, this will be over by Buffalo, South Dakota, and near that Lemon, kind of the North Dakota, South Dakota border. And this is going to be some big time hail possible for that. Let's take a look at NAM and see if that says the same thing. NAM's putting it at maybe McLaughlin, so it's progressing it a little bit faster. Let's take a look here. Back that up. So the NAM is putting this a little bit more around, that's 10 p.m. There we go. Let's back this up a little bit. That's all the storms that came through this morning. And now we're expecting these storms to come through into the overnight. Yeah, it's kind of putting it at the same time frame. It's a little bit further eastward than what the other one shows. But let's go ahead and take a look at significant tornado parameters based on the NAM, or yeah, the NAM here, and this puts it over by Faith. Now, that's at 2 o'clock this morning, obviously. So let me go ahead and progress this a little bit further here. If you take a look at this, it doesn't look real impressive. I mean, Clark area sometime, or again, that looks like it's going to be like 1 p.m. time frame. All depends on if things can get cleared out. So that's the big issue right now. If things can get cleared out, we could get the timing of that front. But I really think we're going to have more of it happen late. Here it is. Sometime after 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we've got the significant tornado parameter numbers here that support tornado genesis. So let's see. Updraft helicity. All right, this would be my target zone. If I was targeting today, and I'm not going to, it's going to be this area here. I'm going to be working my full-time job. So if I was going to be targeting, it would be between Mobridge and Buffalo. And it would be a really late, it would be a really late setup. 9 p.m. into the overnight, not a fun deal at all. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the risks that you guys have for today. The rest of the risks that we have for today is supportive of this is for the wind threat right here, 5%. So very small, low end. This is going to be continuing to stay marginal. I don't see anything that supports that this is going to change from marginal to a slight risk in this area. This would be an area of concern for a slight risk. Let's take a look and see if that's what they got here. Yep, they do have a slight risk here. Dickinson, Bismarck, you should be okay depending on if those storms can track along further to the east. And then what we do have for the hail risk over in Montana, and again, this is going to be very conditional all in South Dakota. Even though we got the wind shear there for that tornado threat, it's going to be highly conditional. As we go into tomorrow, this is where things get a little bit more of a setup that looks pretty interesting. Let me kind of show you the weather model for NAM 3K and show you the timing on that. Okay. Appreciate y'all joining us here. All right, we're going to move things along. This is a look at what 11 a.m. might look like. Moving on through, if that cloud cover, and then tomorrow, there's tomorrow. It's going to be a late night setup again for tomorrow in this slight risk area. Look at that. St. Cloud area, Alexandria, Minnesota, up to Grand Rapids, Duluth, Hibbing, even back to Fargo. That's for tomorrow as it goes into the overnight hours into the 23rd. Going to be major wind event. I do suspect that they have a 2% risk on there for tornadoes. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, they got a 2% right into Aberdeen, Clark, Clear Lake, South Dakota, and St. Cloud, Shakopee, Brooklyn Park, all those areas for tomorrow. Let's take a look and see what it shows for significant tornado parameters for tomorrow. Yeah, this is a much higher risk. Hey, Tufts Weather. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So tomorrow's risk is going to be much, much higher. I do believe they're likely going to have a 5%. They'll probably have a 5% in here, somewhere in here. That'll be the 5% tornado risk. Let's take a look at the max updraft helicity to kind of figure that out too. So 5 p.m. Yeah, it looks like the max updraft helicity kind of matches up with that, a late start. So that would be, so my target area for today, again, I'm going to kind of show you if I was chasing today. My target area would be right over by McLaughlin Mobridge area. This would be the area that I would target, and I'm sure my buddy Storm Chaser John Hall is going to probably be on. A good morning to you, Tufts Weather. I appreciate it. John Hall is probably going to be storm tracking this today. I haven't reached out to him, or he hasn't reached out to me yet, but I imagine he'll be checking with me. And then for the risks for tomorrow, again, my thought is this is all going to be kind of in this general vicinity where maximized uh, tornado genesis would probably happen. And that would be, again, really late in the day also for tomorrow. But these storms that are happening over by Aberdeen area, south of Aberdeen, they're going to be your garden variety. Maybe a special weather statement uh, would be needed here shortly for just north of De Smet, South Dakota. But I don't suspect that these are going to really have a chance to spark up too much. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your current temperatures for South Dakota. We got 72 degrees up in Madison, Mitchell 73. Look at that though. Moisture levels in the mid 70s for dew points. Pretty significant. Let's take a look at the risks that we have for flooding. All right. Our risks for flooding, marginal risk for excessive rainfall outlook, maybe 1 to 3 inches in some of these areas, but not anything real huge. Isolated areas overnight that could end up having much more in the South Dakota region, but the main event and the main concern for flash flooding is continued to be Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee area, Knoxville. You guys are just going to get pounded with this 3+ inches of rain in a very short amount of time. Let me go ahead and shut this off for a second. We'll take a look at some of the storm total precip estimates here. We'll take a look at it with the HRRR model here first. Maybe, possibly. There we go. All right, we're going to move things along here. Yeah, I heard about that, man. Yeah, those are tough ones when those tornadoes happen. It's crazy. Gotta shut this off here. I have all the cyclone stuff on. All right, if we're looking at this, the HRRR model, this looks like it's going to be 3 inches or better. Some isolated areas, it could be a little bit more. Nashville, so 3, yeah. We're going to be looking at 3, maybe 5 inches in some areas. Knoxville here, pretty close. There's about 4 inches there by the time it gets to midnight. At least you got some moisture, but hopefully no flash flooding in your area. You guys are going to get bombarded, I think, over the next couple of weeks for sure. And lots of flooding over in Missouri area as well, and that's going to continue as we go into the overnight hour or the late part of the day. So we got 4 inches, 4+ inches over in Columbia area. This is between 2 a.m. and midnight. So actually, this is the HRRR model. So no, that's not between 2 a.m. Oh, by golly, there they did it. They did the special weather statement. Let me go over to the radar here. Yep, I was just talking about that over by Esteline here. Where's Esteline? There it is. Ah, it's because this one is all by itself. Doesn't have anything to really hinder it. Well, I'm glad it wasn't anything too bad, man. I'm gonna have a short live this morning. It's real. You don't get very much engagement on YouTube, that's for sure. You get a lot of engagement on TikTok, but I'm over all of that crazy stuff. Too tired of dealing with the garbage that TikTok, all the rules and crazy stuff got going on there. Nothing real huge going on there. Let's go ahead and take a look overall throughout the U.S., see what else we have here. All right, so mainly up in areas of North Dakota. Let's see if this was just updated. It looks like it was at 7:32, so it finally updated here. See if they changed anything with respect to tornado outlook. Oh, yeah, they broadened it a little bit more. So it's basically going to be this whole section here from Billings all the way over to Fergus Falls area. Very thin line for that tornado risk, and I really think it's going to be very difficult for things to get going for tornado genesis and wind. Let's see what they updated for that at 7:30. Wind still is going to be fairly early on. Hail risks, they haven't broadened that much, maybe a little bit here. So northwest portion of South Dakota over by the Buffalo, South Dakota area. But otherwise, not a whole lot to talk about. This is all going to be really late after 9 p.m. So if you're planning on doing any kind of streaming, you're going to have a late night for storms. And I think these systems will continue to pound late night storms as we have that heat dome. Yeah, I think the reason why it's mainly hard on YouTube is because there are so many other veteran weather folks streaming on YouTube, and it's very hard to catch that. Yeah, mine get like I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred at best, but that's about it. All right, so this special weather statement over here by Castlewood is moving off to the goodness, they didn't put a direction. Oh, here it is. Moving east. Boy, that puppy's moving along at 50 miles an hour. So yeah, it's not even going to have time to really um, spark anything huge. So this is going to quickly die out since it's moving at 50 miles an hour. But that's all I've got. Oh, shoot. My eyes this morning. Wife and I, we sleep with the fan on and certainly gets a little too dried-eyed. All right. Well, Tufts Weather, thank you for joining. Anybody else that ended up joining, I appreciate you here as well. Um, again, not really expecting a whole lot as far as significant weather over in this area of Twin Cities until tomorrow night. We'll have to see how that plays out. God bless. Stay safe, everybody, and I will catch you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. with another live.